It's easy to make mistakes and lose a ton of money sports betting really quickly, and that's terrifying to me, right? There are horror stories of people who have gone hundreds of thousands of dollars into debt from gambling.
He's $300,000 in debt on credit cards. His wife just found out, and it's all sports betting.
And the point of this is to say it's important to invest in your sports betting education so you don't make these mistakes. And when I started to bet on sports, I learned from a lot of smart, profitable bettors. I watched a ton of YouTube tutorials, and that helped me a ton. And the truth of it is sportsbooks, right? They're not going to teach you how to bet. If you sign up for DraftKings, FanDuel, they're not going to teach you how to bet. Sports betting is a zero-sum game. Right? If you make $10,000 on FanDuel Sportsbook, FanDuel is now $10,000 poorer, right? FanDuel wants people who lose money, so they're not going to teach you how to bet. You're going to have to learn how to bet on your own if you decide to start sports betting. And again, that's the point of this video, is I'm going to be going through 10 mistakes that you need to avoid when you start sports betting. So tip number one is using one sportsbook. That is a huge mistake. You don't want to use one sportsbook, right? This isn't your spouse. You know, you can cheat. And honestly, you should have multiple partners. There are hundreds of sportsbooks in the US. They all want to be unique, so they all set their own odds. And it kind of makes sense, right? If all books had the exact same odds and lines, FanDuel, DraftKings, all these books, we wouldn't need hundreds of sports books, right? All of these books want to be unique, so they set their own odds, they set their own lines. And that's a benefit to us as sports bettors because the market is super fragmented and inefficient with hundreds of books launching in the US. So as an example, here's a play that I locked in on a new book called ProfitX. I was able to get McDaniels over 1.5 steals at plus 142 odds. So plus 142 means you're betting 100 to win 142 in profit. And you can see out of all the other sports books, no other book was even offering above plus 110, right? Plus 110, betting 100 to win 110 versus on ProfitX, 100 to win 142. Obviously, that seems a lot better. So to cut to the chase, if you're placing bets at plus 110, betting 100 to win 110, when another book in your state is giving you plus 142, 100 to win 142, you're getting ripped off and you don't even stand a chance at making money sports betting, right? It's like being a day trader and you say, hey, I'm gonna sell this stock at $110 on Fidelity as opposed to 142 on E-Trade. It makes absolutely no sense. Line shopping, finding value is the core of sports betting. And if you're placing bets at plus 110 when other books are offering plus 142, you do not stand a chance. So you may be thinking, like, why isn't this the case in the stock market, right? Because if you look at Fidelity, E-Trade, Robinhood, they all have the exact same price for Google. Right now, at the time of recording this video, it's $165.98. So it doesn't matter in the stock market. The stock market is super efficient, right? All these platforms have the exact same price. They may have minor differences in fees, but for all intents and purposes, they have the same price. So it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter if you decide to buy Google on Robinhood or on Fidelity, you're getting the exact same price. But that is not the case in sports betting, not at all. So I have a rule with myself that I think every sports bettor should use. It's going to make you more profitable. I don't place a bet unless I'm getting the best possible odds out of every sports book. Not even every sports book in my state, every sports book in the world, right? I don't want to be placing a bet at plus 140 if there's other sports books offering plus 150 because I know, hey, it's just a bad feeling, right? Why am I betting 100 to win 140 in profit when there's other books offering 100 to win 150? It doesn't feel fair. So this is a good rule of thumb as a sports bettor, in my opinion. Never place a bet, period, unless you're getting the best possible odds, period, out of all sports books. So some people will say things like, well, hey, if Jaden McDaniels, if he gets 2 steals, you're winning either way, right? So if I bet $100 on that, on FanDuel I win 110, on ProfitX I win 142, but a win's a win, right? And no, that is completely the wrong logic. Nobody wins every bet. Sports betting is about finding value. Everyone's going to have winning streaks, losing streaks, hot streaks, cold streaks. It all boils down to the odds you get. So for example, I put together this little graphic, which just shows you if you had 500 wins, 500 losses, with an $100 unit size, let's say over the course of a year, you place 1,000 bets, you win 500, you lose 500. What will your profit be depending on the odds you're getting? And you're gonna see, it all boils down to the odds you're getting. If you're betting at minus 120, you're gonna get crushed. If you're betting at plus 120, you're gonna make a ton of money. Finding value, getting the best possible odds, nobody wins every bet, is absolutely critical. So for this reason, I have used, maybe even 100 sportsbooks at this point. My phone screen is littered with sportsbook apps. And again, it may seem a little degenerate, but all these books are super regulated in the US, so your money's safe, right? No sportsbook that is regulated in the US, FanDuel, DraftKings, they're not gonna steal your money. They take just a couple of minutes to sign up for. And honestly, this is the key to profitable sports betting. Use multiple sportsbooks. And this kind of leads me to my second tip, which is take advantage of sportsbook promos. Take advantage of the low-hanging fruit, right? Like there are hundreds of books in the US. They're all competing to get new customers, right? If you're a sports bettor, FanDuel wants you, DraftKings wants you, MGM, Prize Picks, Underdog Fantasy, all of these sports books want you as a customer, right? Because they're hoping you're like the 97% of sports bettors that lose money, and you're just going to be a degenerate who loses money. So they all want you as a customer. So all these books run promos, discounts, deposit matches to try to get you in the door. So as an example, I had a friend come to me this past week and say, hey, I know you do a lot of sports betting. I put $10 into Prize Picks. Do you have any recommendations for picks to go with? And the first thing I told him is, why didn't you put in $100? Prize Picks has an $100 deposit match, which is the easiest money you'll ever make on Prize Picks. You put in $100, they match it, you now have $200 in your account, right? That's the easiest money you're gonna make on Prize Picks. Take advantage of the low-hanging fruit. All these promos, DraftKings, FanDuel, they vary their offers from time to time. So at the time you watch this video, this may not be accurate, but DraftKings has an $1,000 deposit match. FanDuel has a bet 5, get 150 promo. All these books are running promos. They vary from time to time depending on the season, all that sort of stuff. But regardless, this is the low-hanging fruit. I've made videos on YouTube that break down how there's over $18,000 in free money in sportsbook sign-up bonuses. If you signed up for every sportsbook and you did it in a mathematically optimal way, you took advantage of these deposit matches, these insured bets, things like that. If you did them in the correct way, you would walk away with over $18,000 in profit, risk-free profit, which is insane. But again, there's 200 sportsbooks in the US. I literally, when I started to gamble, I would go to different states to rip the deposit matches and the sign-up bonuses. So for example, this was kind of an extreme scenario, but when I started sports betting, Colorado was one of the first states to legalize online sports betting, and a new sports book launched called Sports Illustrated, and they had the most amazing sportsbook sign-up bonus I've ever seen. It was a $7,500 risk-free bet. I have a full-length YouTube video on it. So basically, you could place a bet for $7.5K, and if your first bet lost, they would give you your money back. I mean, that's insane, right? You could literally take the $7,500 risk-free bet. Granted, you need enough of a bankroll to do this, so I'll add that in. But you could take the $7,500 risk-free bet, hedge it on another sports book, I have videos on this as well, and walk away with a risk-free profit of like $4,000, which is insane, right? It's insane. So I literally flew to Colorado from Pennsylvania, and I took advantage of the sign-up bonus. This paid for my flight, everything I did in Denver, all the fun I had, and I still walked away with a few $1,000s after leaving Colorado just from taking advantage of the sportsbook sign-up bonuses. You could literally travel the US, rip all these books, right? All these sports books are available in different states. That's something I should mention. You know, Texas has different sports books from New Jersey, has different sports books from Virginia. So all of these states are going to have different deposit matches that you can claim. Obviously, I spent some time talking about sign-up bonuses, but that doesn't even include the weekly discounts that these sports books run. So for example, Prize Picks, every single Tuesday, they discount players' lines. So usually these discounts are very profitable, right? And again, like not every discounted player is gonna hit. Not every FanDuel odds boost is gonna hit, but some of them are super, super lucrative if you're able to, you know, sniff out which promos are super profitable. There are some gems, and you know, when I started sports betting, I didn't have a huge bankroll. The easiest way to grow my bankroll was taking advantage of the low-hanging fruit, these promos, discounts, deposit matches, these absolute no-brainer bets. These sports books are literally handing you free money through promos, discounts, deposit matches, stuff like that. You just have to take advantage of it. So let's get into mistake number 3. Again, we've already went through 2. The first mistake is only using one sports book. That is horrible. You got to be line shopping. You need to be using multiple sports books because all these books set their own odds. Mistake number 2 is not taking advantage of the low-hanging fruit, like deposit matches, discounts. This is the easiest money you're gonna make sports betting. If sports books are handing you free money, take advantage of it. If you're just betting promos, deposit matches, stuff like that, you can still make tens of thousands of dollars sports betting, and in a pretty low risk way, I should add. But anyways, mistake number 3 is focusing on irrelevant things. And I'll give you a simple example is win-loss record. Win-loss record matters 0 in sports betting, okay? So I'll give you a simple example. This guy on Twitter says he's 136-94 on his free picks. That obviously seems pretty good, right? You want someone who's winning more than they lose. And his free pick of the day, and I'm not trying to make fun of this guy, it's just an example, right? His free pick of the day, he may be profitable for all I know, but his free pick of the day was Florida money line. Florida money line was minus 155 odds. Florida was favored. So you're betting 155, that's the average price, to profit 100. So long story short, if you went 136-94, betting at minus 155 odds, you would actually lose money. You would be in the red. You'd lose money, right? You wouldn't be profitable, and you can see the math here on the screen. So the point is, win-loss record doesn't matter at all. There's only 2 things that matter in sports betting, and they're related. What's your ROI, and how much money are you up, right? What is your net profit, and what's your ROI? Win-loss record is completely irrelevant. For example, I'll give you a simple example. Let's say we place 4 bets at plus 500 odds, and we go 1 win, 2 losses. That seems pretty bad, right? We had 1 win, 2 losses. I'm a losing sports bettor. No. On my 1 win, I made $500, assuming my unit size is $100. On my 2 losses, I lost $100 on each. I'm up $300. So everything boils down to what odds are you getting? You can see last year in 2024, I lost more bets than I won, but my profit was hundreds of thousands of dollars because it all depends on the price you're getting. And that kind of leads me into mistake number 4, which is use a bet tracker. There are so many sports bettors, so mistake number 4 is use a bet tracker. The amount of sports bettors who don't track their bets is absolutely insane. I'll have, friends who went to, good colleges, they're smart people, and they say, yo man, I've been betting on sports for 6 months, and I'll ask them, what's your ROI? How much money are you up? I don't really know, I just kind of go with it. And it's like, how do you not know, right? You may be losing a ton of money. If you're placing a bunch of bets every day, it's going to be hard to know. Some days you're going to win, some days you're going to lose. Are you profitable long term? So you need to use a bet tracker. I use a bet tracker. It's called Pickit. It's literally free. I mean, this isn't an ad, to be very clear. It's just one of the bet trackers that I use. This isn't a sponsored video. And what this bet tracker does is it syncs with all your sports books, reads in your bets, shows you your profit and loss, and it also gives you a ton of analytics, profit and loss by league, sport, stuff like that. And I think this is really important When I started sports betting, I wasn't betting a lot of money, like $1, $5 on every play, but I was ruthlessly tracking my bets because I wanted to see, am I making money? And as I saw, hey, I have a positive ROI month after month, that gave me the confidence to increase my unit size and start to bet more and more. And now I'm betting $5,000, $10,000 on certain plays, which is crazy. Like 5 years ago, I would have thought that was absolutely insane. But at this point, I've tracked my bets, I followed my strategies, I've done so much research into sports betting that I know I'm a profitable bettor. So, I accept that there's going to be some variance, there's going to be some swings. But again, it's critical to track your bets, and the amount of sports bettors who don't track their bets, that's a huge mistake. So that's mistake number 4. So my 5th tip is kind of related to the previous tip, but it's don't dive in too quickly. There's no reason to start betting a ton of money right away. Bet a small amount of money, $1, $5 per play. Track your bets over a large sample size of wagers over months. See how you're doing. If you're losing money, you clearly need to do something different. So there's so many sports bettors who, they want to get into gambling. They want to start slamming bets for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I watch sports. I know what I'm doing. I can make money off the sports books. You got to remember, 97% of sports bettors lose money, and guess what? They all watch sports. Watching sports doesn't make you a good sports bettor. I use Instagram all the time. I'm not going to be a good trader on Facebook stock just because I use Instagram. Watching sports versus making money sports betting are two completely different things. So what I recommend is don't dive in too quickly, right? People who dive in too quickly often lose a ton of money super fast. Then they're discouraged, they quit gambling, or they just continue to lose more and more money and go into more and more debt. Is only bet a small amount of money, track your wagers, and spend most of your time researching sharp, profitable betting strategies like arbitrage, middle betting, positive EV. That's what I did. When I started sports betting, I was only betting a small amount of money. I spent all my time basically researching how do the pros do it? How do sharps do it? How do syndicates do it? How do they make money sports betting? I spoke to my friends, my coworkers in quantitative trading, people who are gambling in super complex financial markets, trading derivatives, oil, natural gas. I asked them, how should I bet on sports? And I learned from them. I spent most of my time learning the math behind sports betting and about strategies like arbitrage, positive EV. And now at this point, I've made over $1 million sports betting just from investing in my betting education. So that's huge for me, is just spend time learning and don't dive in too quickly. Anyways, tip number 6 is bankroll management. You need to know how to manage your bankroll. So I guess the mistake would be not knowing how to manage your bankroll. You'll see a lot of people put way too much money on certain plays. So you need to know how to manage your bankroll, and the good thing is it's a solved question, right? We know how the optimal way to manage your sports betting bankroll. It's with a method called the Kelly criterion, and I've done videos on this YouTube channel about the Kelly criterion. This is the main way most sharp pro sports bettors are managing their bankroll. And I do want to emphasize, bankroll management is valuable. It's important. It's obviously important. You don't want to put all your money, your entire life savings on one bet. That never makes sense. There's no locks, guaranteed wins in sports betting. But it's not going to solve your problems, right? Like, I see a lot of people on social media, on TikTok. I'll actually show you a TikTok right after I finish talking. People who just say, oh, the number one way to make money sports betting is managing your bankroll. And that's not true, right? If you have a negative ROI, you're always going to lose money. It doesn't matter how you manage your bankroll, what method you use to manage your bankroll. If you have a negative ROI, you're always going to lose money gambling. And that's 97% of sports bettors. So TLDR, I guess, of this is bankroll management is definitely important. But also, it's not a strategy. It's not going to help you make money sports betting. It's just going to help you, if you're a profitable sports bettor, not lose your entire bankroll.
Bankroll management is the number one thing you need to learn if you're going to be a successful sports bettor.
So the seventh mistake I see a lot of sports bettors make is they don't understand markets. Sports books are markets. So by that I mean, you'll see a ton of people who say, oh, it's going to be snowing in Buffalo, take the under. Guess what? That's already priced into the market. Sports books are constantly moving their odds. You can see a line movement chart right here. They're constantly adjusting odds based on lineup news, injuries, weather, all that sort of stuff. So if you're thinking, hey, it's super windy and the wind's blowing towards the field, I should bet the under for this player to get a home run, guess what? Like, it's already factored into the odds. Public information, lineups, injuries, like, with all due respect, you're a smart guy or girl if you're watching this video, I'm sure, but sportsbooks aren't that stupid. FanDuel is a $40 billion company, right? Like, they know if Giannis is playing or not, and they know how that should affect Bucks money line. So that's my seventh tip, is you should just assume any public information, it's already going to be priced into the market. Granted, if you're best friends with, Giannis, and he tells you ahead of time that he's injured, that's a different story. But that's not what I'm saying, right? I'm saying public information, lineups, injuries, stuff like that, it's going to be priced into the market. Mistake number 8 is forcing bets. So there are good times to bet on sports and there's bad times. So for example, take like November, December, you have NFL going on, you have NBA going on, college basketball. There's a ton of opportunity. Maybe you place 10 bets in a day. Whereas summer, MLB season, no NBA, no NFL, no college basketball. There's just not a lot of sports. Never force a bet. Right? Like, a lot of people will say, how many bets should I place per day? And my answer is always, it depends on two things. How much time are you betting? And what time of year is it? If there's a ton of opportunity, a ton of lineup news, a ton of line discrepancies, there are days I've placed hundreds of bets a day. And there's also days I placed 5 bets in a day. It's baseball season. I didn't spend a ton of time gambling because there wasn't a lot of opportunity, so I didn't place a lot of bets. Never force a bet. There's no optimal number of bets to place per day. If a bet is profitable, if a bet has an edge, then you should place it, right? Like, it's kind of like if you go to the casino, if you're the best poker player at the table, you should play as many hands as possible. You're the best poker player at the table. You know you have an edge against all your opponents and you're going to make money long term. So you want to play as many hands as possible. There's no optimal amount of time. Whereas if you're the worst poker player at the table, if you're playing against the pros, like, Phil Hellmuth or whatever his name is, you want to play 0 hands. Those guys are sharks. You don't even want to be involved in the action. And it's kind of the same thing in sports betting. So my 9th tip is pretty obvious, but don't get emotional. Don't chase your losses, right? It's very common if sports bettors have a losing day, they try to bet more the next day to recoup it. And you don't want to do that, right? Follow data-driven sports betting strategies. Unless you're arbitrage betting, arbitrage is a risk-free sports betting strategy where you will win every single day. You're hedging to guarantee profits, day trading the sports books. I've done videos on arbitrage. I highly recommend watching on this channel. That's literally the first strategy I used when I started sports betting was arbitrage. But don't chase your losses. I have days I've lost tens of thousands of dollars, and I have days I've made $30,000. And you just kind of have to consider it as variance, right? You care about the long-term result. Nobody, unless you're arbitrage betting again, I have to add that as a caveat because a lot of people arbitrage bet and make a ton of money doing it. But unless you're arbitrage betting, you're not going to win every single day. So don't get so emotional. Look at your results over the course of weeks, months, thousands of bets, not, oh, today I placed 5 bets, I lost them all, I need to bet more tomorrow. You never want to get emotional. The 10th tip, don't follow the hot hand. You'll see a lot of people say, hey, I've won my last 5 bets, subscribe to my Discord, buy my picks. And again, just kind of like we talked about, everybody, right? There are thousands of handicappers on social media trying to sell you picks packages. There's always going to be one guy who's won his last 5 bets. Don't follow the hot hand. Anybody can win 5 bets in a row. I've won 5 bets in a row, 10 bets, probably even 15 bets in a row. I place thousands of bets every single year. And again, there's some luck involved in sports betting. There's some variance. It's kind of like being a stock market investor, right? I don't feel smarter because the money I have in the stock market is up 4% that day. I know there's going to be some up days, there's going to be some down days, but over the course of history, the stock market's returned roughly 10%. So it's probably a good idea to have some of your savings in an investment account, in the S&P 500, in the stock market. Long story short, don't follow the hot hand. There's always going to be someone who's won their last 5 bets. That doesn't mean they have an edge in their profitable long term. The same way we could flip a coin, and if we flip a coin 5 times, after a certain amount of times, that coin is going to show up heads 5 times in a row. But the next time, tails is still 50-50. It's still a 50-50 coin flip, even if it shows up heads 5 times in a row. So you don't just want to follow the hot hand. But anyways, I hope you found this video helpful. 10 mistakes to avoid when you start gambling, when you start sports betting. All of these tips, I truly believe they're things I learned and they made me a much more profitable sports bettor. So I hope you found this video helpful. Please like, subscribe to the channel, comment other video ideas, and thanks so much for watching.